But let's jump straight into the new editor. So the first thing you'll notice is that we've got a new range of free templates, and the important thing to understand here is that the concept of a template is now quite different with the new editor. So it's a lot more flexible and versatile, and in fact all of these templates are actually just variations on the same theme. It's completely possible to create all of these designs from scratch in the new editor. These are more now shortcuts to make it just faster to create certain types of campaigns. And to show you how the new system works, what I'm going to do is just take you through creating a very simple, quick campaign and show you how easy it is in the new system and explain the core concepts and how this new tool works and why it's quite different. So let's jump straight in and take a look at the most basic starting point template. So as we see here, all we've got are two little sections here. Now, to explain the core concept behind this, the driving aim behind this new editor was to make it super easy to create campaigns that will look great on any device, so that will look great if someone's viewing it on a mobile or viewing it on a tablet device or on a desktop, and where you didn't really need to worry about that during the design process. And also to eliminate the need to get involved in any coding behind the scenes, to have to do any kind of custom work in order to create a great looking campaign, and to make it really easy to get a consistent look and theme across the whole campaign, so that you don't have to worry whether fonts are matching up, whether sizes are matching up, whether line heights are the same across different blocks of text. So we've engineered the whole system to make it as easy and as quick as possible to create really great looking campaigns. Now, the way we do this is actually by using a couple of different sections. So a campaign itself is broken down now into components, and you have this what we call a component library here, which gives you a whole variety of different sections of content that you can drag and drop into a campaign. And these components are basically just building blocks for your campaign, and each of the areas within a component can hold images or text, or multiple images and text as well. So by combining these together, you can create a very flexible layout. And on top of components, we then use themes to actually decide what these components look like. So what I'm going to do is take you through the process, and we'll build up a quick campaign. So the basic elements we see here, this is the email canvas. And right now we've got two components here. We've got a default one at the top here, and we've got this component here as well, which is just a one column component. Now, as I said, a component can contain images or text or multiple elements. So what we're going to do now is start by actually just showing you how quickly we can add some content into a campaign. So, and I'm going to go through and lay out some sections of the campaign as we go along. So to start with, let's go into the image library. And within the image library, similar to what you've seen before, it's all organized into folders. So I'm going to add a new folder. And I'm just going to call this demo. Okay, now if I go into this folder, now I can just drag and drop some images that I've got pre-prepared here. I'm just going to drag those into the area, and we'll see it uploads the images straight into the campaign automatically. Now, within these images, show you one of the first features. I can see on this image here, I've got a red border that I don't need on this image. So I'm going to click on this image, and I'm going to click onto Edit. And that'll take me into some cropping tools. So I can actually just quickly crop out that border that I don't want on this image and save that. And there we go, I've got a nice newly cropped image. So now what I'm going to do is start laying out the core components. So at the moment I've got this default block of text here, but actually I don't need that for this campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that with an image. I'm going to drop in some text into that image. It's going to warn me that it's going to replace it, and there we go, I've got my logo in there. Now if I want to add a link onto that logo, I can just click onto that image and I can just quickly type in the image and and some alt text there. Now, if I want to then add some text below this, I can just drag in a new one column component here, and I can choose the text type, and then click on the text, and it will open up our text editor. Now, our text editing takes place now on the side panel, so that you can see in real time exactly what your campaign is going to look like. Now, I've got some text pre-prepared. I'm just going to paste that into there, and we can see, there we go, I've got my text, and I've got a heading here, so I'm going to select the square here, and I'm going to change that into a header 1. There we go. Now, I also want to add another image below this logo. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another component in. I'm going to take another one column component here. And this time I'm going to go back to my image library. And I'm going to find this plate image here. And I want to put that into there. So I'm going to drop it in. Now, with the image handling, we try to make it nice and intelligent. So if you drag an image in that's too big for an area, it will automatically resize the width. But what it won't do is scale images up to fill a larger content area, because then your image will look blocky and bitty. So this is not scaling that image up because it's slightly smaller than the content area, but what it will do is center it nicely on there. Now, something else I can do, actually, I'd quite like that heading there to be centered. So I'm going to add another text block into the same area here. I'm going to call that text. And then I'm going to move this block above the previous block. I'm just going to click on that. And I'm going to take this heading out of here, and I'm going to put it into my new block above, so that then I can center that element. Now, we separate out different elements like this, because in this template structure, what that means is that you can be much more certain of how it's going to display on multiple devices. So there are certain things that this new editor won't allow you to do, so that we can be consistent. So you can't have images and text wrapped around one another, because that will vary greatly across different devices. But we have plenty of other ways to achieve the same effect. So if we show you now what you can do with a different component type, so let's try this 2-column 50-50 ratio element. I'm going to drop this into the campaign here. And now what I want to do is I want to have an image and some text side by side. So I'm going to go back into my image library and find one of the images I want to use. So let's go with this table 2 image that I edited before. And I'm going to drop that into here. And then on the right hand side, I want to add some text in. So I'm just going to go and find my text and copy that, so I can paste it in here. And I'm going to paste my text into this area here. Now I want to make this groups and private dining into a header. And I'm going to change that into a header 2 type. And then I want another block of content below this. So actually I'm going to take this whole group that I've just created here, and I'm going to duplicate that entire section, so you can see it copies it completely. And then I'm going to replace those elements with the other content I've got for the next section. So I'm going to find this other table image that I've got here, and drag and drop that in. Great, and then I'm going to get my next block of text, and I'm going to paste that into this area here. Now I'd also quite like a separator above this text, so if I put a couple of line spaces in here, you see I've also got this icon here, and that'll allow me to create a line separator here, and I can style that up in a moment, and I'll show you how. So I just click off that so you can see it. I've created a line there where I've put that element in. And then I think I'm going to have one more component below this. I'm going to take another 1-column component and put that under here. And I'm just going to add a bit more text in to close off this campaign. So here we go. Paste a bit more text. I'm going to change the inquiries and bookings. And I'm going to make that into a header 2 as well. And actually, I think it would look a bit nicer if there was a little bit more space between these elements. So I'm going to come down here, and we've got this special new element here called a spacer, which I can drop into here. And if I click in there, you'll see it gives me the options to add a variable amount of space in there. So I'm going to set it to about that. I think that looks good. Now, I've very quickly got all of the content into this campaign, but what I'd actually like to do now is make it look a bit more on brand. So I'm going to go into my themes, and I'm going to start setting up the actual look and feel for this. So first thing I'd like to do, I want to make my headers into the same purple as the logo. So I'm going to click on the color for the header here. If I click on show more, it gives me the option to actually enter the hexadecimal code in. Now I already know what it is for this design, but if I didn't, I could actually just use the the picker to choose a relevant color, and we'll see it's changed my header 1 there into that purple color. Now I actually want the header 2s to be the same, so I'm going to click on this, and you see it saved my color option here. So I'm going to select that, and it's automatically changed that as well. Now looking at the text, I think we could make that a little bit easier to read, so I'm going to change the line height of all the text here. So if I change the paragraph line height to 1.5 lines, you see it increases the spacing across the whole campaign nice and easily, and everything's consistent so that it looks much more pleasing. Now I also want to change the background color. Now I just want to make it into a sort of light purple, so I'm going to select one of the defaults here. I'm going to choose that, and there we go. That set the background of this. Now, if I wanted to actually change other elements as well, so for example, I wanted to change the font in a particular section, then and only that section, then I can actually go into a particular section and edit the theme just for that section as opposed to for that entire email. So if I want to change the font of just that heading, I can go into here and I can change that, and let's say I want to make that into Georgia. And actually I'd like to make that a bit larger than normal as well. So I'm going to go for 48. Then I can make that into 48. It's going to affect just that section there. Now with themes as well, you can also save those themes so that you can come back and reuse them later. So for example, if I go back into our main theme, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to just show you how easy it is to switch to another theme. So if I switch to bold red, you see it's restyled the whole campaign there. But if I decide actually no, I want to go back to that, I'm going to go back to that one I just saved. And there we go, it's gone back to my original theme. So very quick, very easy to do that. You've got all the usual text controls as well. So if I go back into this text area here, if I want to make something bold, I'll just select that and I'll click on bold. And you'll notice in here it's actually applying some strange markings here. This was, we use a system called Markdown, and what that means is it's a way for you to just very quickly style text, but what it means is that it avoids all the issues with cutting and pasting text from various different systems and the formatting looking strange, because as you'll see here, the formatting is perfect. Within here, it's just a way of using quick shortcuts if you want to apply particular styles, but you can just use the menu options down here. You don't actually have to learn any of these codes, but all of the standard things that you're used to are all available within here. Now, saving a campaign, really nice and easy. If you click on the Save menu here, you'll see you've got the normal options, so your campaign name, your subject line, the from name, from address, and the option to enable Google Analytics. Now, one of the nice features of the new editor, which I'll show you now, is if you actually wanted to add your own custom unsubscription text, for example. So if we say to subscribe, please click here. I select that text and I go to the link option here, and I choose to make that a campaign link, and I'll choose the unsubscribe option. We've got a variety of other options here, and I'll insert a link, and we'll see that's made that into an unsubscription link here. Now, because we've now put an unsubscription link in, if I go on to save, I've now got the option to remove the default footer. And what that will mean is that the normal unsubscription footer that we add to a campaign won't be added now, because it's going to use your own unsubscription link instead. So it gives you a bit more stylistic control. So let's take a quick look at how this campaign will really look for our end users now. If I click onto preview, then I can see, okay, this is what it looks like on a desktop for a user. But what's it going to look like on a tablet if they've got it in landscape mode? Okay, that's still looking pretty good. How about on a mobile? There we can see, okay, it's reordered everything. It's stacked those multiple columns of content, and it's done it in an intelligent way, so it's easier for a reader to scroll down and read the campaign. And we can even see what it looks like in landscape mode as well. So it makes it really easy for you to see exactly what your campaign is going to look like on different devices. And if I want to go back into editing mode, I just choose any of these other options up here, and I'm straight back into the editing mode. Now, if I later decided I wanted to move some of these components around, you can just click on the section here. I can move that up. I can move it up here. If actually, no, I want to move that back down. I can move that back down again, move that below the spacer. You can drag and drop different elements within these sections around. So as I said before, you can actually have multiple components within a single section. So these two areas are contained within the same component, so I can move those around as a block. So you see I've moved them above the image, but let's actually move those back down to where it looks nice. Now again, if I want to add a different link onto one of these images, I can just type the link in here. Actually, I don't want to do that now. You'll notice as well that whenever I'm editing any of these sections, it automatically saves any changes that I make. So you can click the apply button, but you don't actually need to when you're editing text, and things will automatically save. And will automatically save drafts of your campaign in the background as well. We've also got multiple levels of undo and redo. So if you want to reverse a change that you've made, you can do so at a click of a button. Actually, I want to put that back again. So you've got an awful lot of flexibility throughout. And with these combinations of components, it's really easy to create lots and lots of different types of campaigns really fast. So if I wanted to add a 4-column component in there, I can just drag and drop this in, and we see I've now got 4 components there. And just to show you the degree of flexibility, so let's add some more images into these. Let's put the same table image in here, and we'll see it's automatically resizing that to fit that column. Let's just do that a few more times. And very quickly, we can start to create campaigns that look very different. I can duplicate that again if I want to. And we can see very quickly I can create campaigns that look very, very different. Another nice thing is the system's designed to work offline as well. So if you've started editing a campaign and you lose your internet connection partway through, it will save your changes locally until you reconnect as well. So you won't lose your work if you lose your internet connection, or if you're using the editor on the move. So this is all touch compatible as well. So the editor will work perfectly well on a tablet device, so an iPad or an Android tablet. You can create your campaigns on there as well, and you don't need to worry about if you lose your internet connection. Your work will still be nice and safe and saved within the editor. Now, by default, you can use our standard templates and standard components and create a wide variety of campaigns. And because you can save themes and you can reuse your campaigns, it's possible to create most commonly used designs without needing any custom coding at all. But if you actually want to have a completely custom template created, then we can, of course, do that as well. And we can also create custom components that you can use within your campaign. Now, a custom component can be pretty much anything that you want to reuse in a campaign. So I've got one here that we've been working on for customers. So just as an example to show you the kind of thing that can be done, if I take this custom navigation component and I drop it in here, we'll see it's actually created a completely custom navigation element that we can add and remove different elements into. And that's available as a completely custom component for a campaign. I'll just remove that out of here again. So with these combination of custom components and standard components, you can create just about anything. So as another example here, we've got this 1-column full width component. Now that will let us create an image in here that is the full width of the campaign. So if I take a larger image, say this one here, which I can see, yeah, that's a large enough width to use. I'll drop that in here, and we'll see that image is now the full width of the campaign. Again, we don't really want that, so let's remove that section out. Or if I wanted to come in here and if I wanted to change the background colors so that we don't see difference here, I can change that background color to white. You've also got, as I say, controls over the individual sections. So if I wanted to highlight this section here by changing the background color, I can edit the theme of this section and change the background color just of this section to make it stand out a bit. So if I made that into a light blue, we can then see that campaign stands out a little bit. So you have an enormous amount of flexibility, and as you've seen, I haven't had to touch any code, I haven't had to make any tweaks behind the scenes, and everything will automatically render beautifully for the end customer. So you can be reassured that your customers will have a great experience when they receive the email, but also we've created this whole thing in under 20 minutes.